What's going on, guys? Gonna be doing my first rebuilding in my league for NBA 2K16. I decided to start kind of early as I didn't do this very late until last year, about mid-June, I believe. So why not start early, and I'm gonna do the 76ers. So as of right now, I'm gonna be showing you my settings and whatnot about the team. I decided to also make this a pretty shorter one because all my videos last year about rebuilds were usually like half an hour. And while it was cool about how in-depth I got, at times it was kind of hard to talk about the team, as, I don't know, half an hour is too long some points. So I cut it down to about 15 minutes or so now. Tell me what you think about it. I'll probably keep it around that. So right off the bat, I need to trade some of our big men. We have too many, so I'm trading Nerlens Noel and our starting point guard Tony Wroten away. I'm picking up Brandon Knight in a first-round pick. I did this because we have three centers, and Noel I think he's the least valuable out of all three. Even though I like him in real life, I really don't not need him. I pick up Larry Sanders just for the fact I can trade him later on. Right here are some trade options. I'm looking for Robert Covington, so I have to give up 2 first-rounders, but I do end up getting Greg Monroe and Chris Middleton back, 2 guys who I can use on my team. Next, I'm trading away Joel Embiid, as he has no real value on my team, and I do get a nice pick out of that one. I think the player I got wasn't that great, but I got a nice pick that I can use later. Now I'm trading Isaiah Cannon and a couple picks for Rudy Gobert, which is a pretty good trade. I'm not going to use Rudy Gobert, so I'm just going to flip him once again for another guy. But I'm flipping Rudy Gobert and Greg Monroe out for one of my favorite players in the league right now, Andre Drummond, who's having a crazy season. So I'm going to be speeding through this season right here because it's not that exciting. If you want, you can pause. Of course, I'm not going for wins in my first season. Of course, I never try to do that unless I'm with a good team. And even though I did not choose to download the roster, I think that the picks that I still have left would be valuable to trade, even though I was not able to for some reason. So anyways, we're pretty trash. And with this team, the identity I want to kind of have is I want to keep one of their big men that Philadelphia has. I'm not a Philadelphia fan, but I do like what they're doing. Even though they're tanking and some people get upset, they do have a plan. It's not like they're aimlessly tanking. I'm just telling you that. And the 3 big men that they had, I don't think all 3 can work together super well. 2 of them can, especially with Nerlens Noel, who probably complements Embiid and Okafor very well. But I decided to get rid of both of them and try to rebuild from there. So now I have 2 really great big men in Okafor and Drummond, where one is I use them as like an offensive superstar with Okafor, and then like a defensive and rebounding guy with Andre Drummond. If you've been watching the NBA recently, you've seen Drummond put up crazy numbers. The other night he put up 25 and 29, which is absolutely ridiculous. I watched part of that game and it was really awesome to watch. But anyways, going back to this, I'm not expecting to do much in the first season, but I'm expecting to make a playoff push in the second season and hopefully win by the third, which is what I did last year. I tried to make these teams win by their third season at the absolute latest. If I did not, I had to do it over again. I just didn't want to be the guy, if I really wanted to, I could take it really slow and take 8 or 9 years to build a championship team, but that's not fun to watch, and that will probably take me hours upon hours. Like, this recording took me probably 2 to 2.5 hours, but I didn't want to put much more. So we actually get Jahlil Okafor to win Rookie of the Year, which is pretty nice. And Durant won MVP. And Okafor also was on the All-NBA second team, and I'm speeding through this too, as I already don't care too much about the All-NBA teams because the only guy who made it for me was Okafor, and it really doesn't matter in these rebuilds, it feels like. However, the Thunder do win the championship, and Westbrook wins the Finals MVP. And here's all the retired players, a lot of guys who are pretty good retired, and a few made the Hall of Fame. I believe 5 or 6. Yes, 5 did. So I'm skipping through a lot of stuff, and right there I just signed Andre Drummond to a 5-year $60 million, I believe, and I just picked up Larry Sanders for a $4 million contract for 1 season. Didn't want to have long-term money on my books, and I'm just sent Chris Middleton to a training camp along with Andre Drummond. I believe big man offense for him. And this is the guy I got in the draft, Ricky Reese. I don't even know his name, but I have traded him away just for a draft pick, I believe. I couldn't read that, sorry about that. But anyways, we're on to our second season right now, and I'm going to be speeding through this once again, as I really do not care about our season too much. It'd be nice if we win, but the third season is when I actually care and try to push for a good record and whatnot. So we're under 500, which is kind of a downer, but it's not too surprising, especially since our point guard play isn't superior, as we do have Brandon Knight at this point, I believe. as our point guard, and our shooting guard is Chris Middleton, small forward being Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Actually, that was who I picked up in that trade that I sped through. Sorry about that, but I did pick up Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I believe, because I did have him on my team, but he did get injured a few times, which is kind of upsetting, especially considering that I do like him as a player. Seems like a pretty good guy as well, but what happens, happens. And anyways, this is a pretty defensive-minded team, with the exceptions of Brendan Knight and Okafor being two offensive-minded guys. But having guys at the 2, 3, and 5 who are there just to lock it down, and then you throw in that I have a couple guys in there for scoring, especially I have Reggie Jackson off the bench, which is a pretty nice addition for me. It's an all-around pretty decent team. While this is no championship team as of right now, I can help move it into a championship caliber team pretty quickly, especially with the developing young guys I have. And hopefully Okafor will be able to develop into a really good player in real life. I'm kind of deviating, going between real life and this game. And here are all the awards and stuff. I didn't win anything, so I'm scrolling through it pretty quickly too. Especially, I thought that I'd have some guy on an all-NBA team, considering last year Okafor was on the second team for a center. So we end up making the 6th seed, I believe, all the way down there. We're playing the Bulls, and we get knocked out of the first round. Nothing too surprising. But somehow the Cavs actually come and beat the Pelicans in the finals, and LeBron wins his finals MVP. There's so many people who retired. I didn't even realize how many people there were, because it's any guy who is not playing the next year, I'm pretty sure. So you get a lot of guys who've been in the league for 1 or 2 years, and a few guys who are just fake guys that even have 0 years experience. So we're going to training camps once again. I send Jahlil Okafor to big man offense, I believe, and I send, Chris Middleton to perimeter D. So right here I'm getting rid of Brandon Knight, and I'm picking up, Jeff Teague. I had to slow that down because it was so quick. My capture device kind of screwed up on that. So I end up pretty much trading away Jeff Teague. I get Jeff Teague in return for Brandon Knight. I don't know. I just feel like he gives me more leadership in some ways, and I kind of like Jeff Teague more than Brandon Knight. So I picked him up, and this is going to be my final roster when we're heading into the 3rd season. And we're not doing so well, surprisingly. We are 11 and 20 as I'm speaking right now, which is actually pretty miserable, especially for my hopes of making the playoffs. And I was getting really nervous because I have no idea why this team would end up being so low in terms of their success. It kind of confuses me also because there was some guy I had, Christian Wood. I think he's in the NBA right now. And he developed like a 76, even though I believe he's like a 68 or something like that, like in real life right now. And because of that, he actually was my starting power forward, so I had to adjust off camera, like I didn't record it. I put Jahlil Okafor at power forward because it just kept on screwing it up, and it kind of annoyed me. Sorry about all the slamming in the background. Someone's opening and closing their door pretty heavily. So as I'm grinding on, we make it past the All-Star game. I don't know how many guys on my team were All-Stars. I believe there's only 2 with Drummond and Okafor. I believe I checked. I didn't record it, but I checked on my own after I did this entire thing. So we're still pounding out the season. We're still under 500, which is kind of upsetting, especially when the season's dwindling down right now. I don't think we're going to do too well, but at the end of the season, we have a great push for the playoffs, and we end up taking up the 6th seed, I believe. And here are all the awards. Nothing too great, but Tyson Chandler ends up winning 6th Man of the Year with great numbers. I don't know if you caught that, but I saw it. It was really surprising that he was a 6th man with all, he averaged 11 rebounds a game off the bench, which is nice. So yeah, we're going up against the Bulls once again, and I'm simulating all these games. And if it's ever bad for me, I do Simcast, and just to let you know, I did that last year, but we ended up doing pretty well against the Bulls. Now we're going up against the Wizards, and let me just say, their logo looks really similar to the 76ers if you look really closely, because it's the circular with the red, white, and blue. So just looking at it really quickly, I kind of got confused, but when you actually look at it, it's much different. Anyways, so in this game, it's a pretty tight game. I do this thing where I just pause on pause, pause on pause, and I just hope that we can go on a run. And we end up doing so, and we win by 14. And we end up going on to the conference finals versus the Cavs, the team that won it last year. So I'm simulating games, but I do some Simcast cheese right here. And it's a pretty close game. We're going back and forth, back and forth. I don't know who's going to win. And this is actually a pretty hard-fought series in general. And so I'm getting really nervous. And we end up losing that game. I was just trying to pull out a win, so we are down big time right now. And hopefully this Simcast will help us. And it appears that it is right now, as we are having a pretty solid lead throughout the game, and we pull away, and we end up taking this game and we win by 9, which is pretty nice. And continuing on, that skipped a little bit for some reason. I have no idea why. But we are actually doing pretty well. And you see right there, Christian Wood, for some reason, wants more minutes instead of Andre Drummond. You are insane, man. Andre Drummond is an animal. So, right now we are going into, I believe, the last game in the series. And we are losing. I'm getting pretty nervous because I don't want to lose. Come on, man. So, we're going back and forth, flip-flopping the lead. And right here, we go straight into the game. Sorry that I sped it up too. But I send it over to Andre Drummond, who hits the buzzer, almost buzzer beater, to take us into overtime. Right there, a nice little layup by, I believe that was Okafor. I don't know, man. Kevin Love with a nice little layup there, too. So I put the speeding up issue right there, man. Sorry. And anyways, Reggie Jackson, for some reason, was playing instead of Jeff Teague. I believe Teague was, tired. But Reggie with a nice and one as he finishes the free throw as well. Now, I just didn't want to show my highlights. So, Kyrie Irving is a freaking animal. Sending off this pass that should not have gone through. But Kevin Love goes for a little layup. Right here, Jaleel, I thought he was going to make that. He doesn't. Pass right back out to him, and he makes a nice little mid-range shot to put us up 3. Now, there was not too much time left in the game. There's only 2 minutes in overtime, so I was actually kind of freaking out right here. But Drummond with a monster dunk down low over a couple defenders. And this was a scary play for me as Reggie Jackson goes up while LeBron is trailing him. I thought LeBron would come by, but right here, LeBron actually gets blocked somehow by Jaleel Okafor. As I throw it up court, and I believe that's Jeff Teague who finishes it over a Cavs defender, which is pretty surprising too. But Kyrie comes right back and knocks down a 3, trying to push this into a double overtime. And we're playing good defense right here, but, LeBron's LeBron, and you can't stop him all the time. And this was a really sloppy play, but ends up in Kendall Marshall's hand. Yeah, I picked him up somehow. And we hit the 3 that ends up winning the game as they brick the last shot. I throw it around so they don't foul us. It's over. So anyways, we push on, and we're winning. And there we are. Yes, end of the game. Doesn't matter that I missed that, but we are moving on to the NBA Finals at this point. I showed this post-game show. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't watch the post-game show. Actually, it was not the last game, but it was the second to last game, and we're going up against the Cavs, of course, once again, and we are pulling away towards the end. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to do well. And we end up winning. And now we're going to the finals against the Clippers, one of my least favorite teams in the league. So we're having a pretty tight series versus the Clippers, as they're not a bad team whatsoever. I just do not like them personally. And that just reminded me, if you guys are watching right now, comment down below what video you want to see me or what team you want to see me rebuild next. If you don't, I already have one in mind, but get some input from other people. Anyways, we're pushing on. I do simcast this whole finals, I believe, or I simulate 1 or 2 games, because I just get very nervous. And right there, if you saw in the top left corner, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist said he's coming back from a dislocated patella. So this is a pretty good news. As I don't even remember at small forward. I might have had Jakar Sampson starting at small forward, but we have a very tight game going back and forth. But I get the ball and we're up 2 with 37 seconds left, and hopefully we can win the finals. And the team is very likely. But Chris Paul has the ball right here, passing down to Blake Griffin, going up against Okafor. I'm pretty nervous, and he makes the shot. Now, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I passed to Okafor, and Okafor tries to do a nice little up and under, but he gets fouled. But at the line, he does what he does, hits the first one. Especially with that low free throw rating, I was very nervous. So we're up 1 with just a few seconds left. And he goes up and he hits his second one. Right there, yes. So right here, Blake Griffin goes for a nice little mid-range shot, but he misses it, and we win the NBA Finals. See, alright, the Sixers are an animal. We just won the finals in 3 seasons. No one expected us to do that. Chris Middleton is on my team. I mean, yeah, we probably shouldn't have won the finals, but we won it no matter what. Bringing the championship back to the Sixers for the first time in, was it 50 years maybe? 60? I don't know, but I think, when was it? The last time must have been, I don't even know when, man. That was a while back. Anyways, we brought the title back to Philly. I feel really stupid for not knowing the last time they won a title. However, we won. DeAndre didn't play the overtime. I don't know why. And as you see right there, Jaleel Okafor is holding up that block of cheese. That looks, it looks all right this year. Meaning that he won Finals MVP, of course. So that's great for him, especially as a guy who's only his 3rd year in the league. And Drummond gets a title too, which is pretty nice. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, of course, who you want to see next or any other tips or what I should do in my next videos. But share with your friends and please subscribe. Have a nice day.